To craft 100,000 TNT, I'm gonna need 290 shulker boxes of gunpowder and 232 shulker boxes of sand. But before we can even think about getting the resources, we need to take a step back and focus on something else. The shulker boxes themselves. Right now, I have 133, and we need 522. I know I could build a shulker farm for this, but that's boring. Where's the adventure in that? So instead, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way by looting end cities. Also, since I'm not using mending on any of my stuff anymore, I got this mod that lets me see the durability of everything, and it also plays a sound when something's getting really close to breaking, which is pretty nice. I honestly have no idea how long this is going to take, but hopefully not that long. But honestly, the main reason that I'm doing this instead of making a shulker farm is because I'm going to get a bunch of elytras. And like I said, I'm not using mending anymore, so my elytras will eventually wear out. Okay, so my helmet is getting really close to breaking, and as you can see, I can't repair it anymore. So that means this is going to be our first retired piece of armor. Also, that sound was letting me know that it's almost broken. I honestly don't remember why I named it this. It was just, I felt like that was funny. So anyway, now we gotta make a new helmet, which I'm probably just gonna go do really quick. I don't really want to bore you guys with every time I need to make a new piece of gear. So first up, we got protection 4. Also need unbreaking 3, which I have in here. We also got aqua affinity. I don't think I have a respiration villager, so I'm gonna try to find an enchanted book. For now, I'll just combine these two to make respiration 3. Oh, we need to come up with a name. I think I've used this name before, but never in this world, so I'm gonna use it anyway. The cranium cover. Gotta put prot 4, breaking 3, respiration 3. Oh, I hope we'll have enough. We won't have enough. Dang it. I gotta go to my enderman farm. There we go. Perfect. Got a brand new helmet, and we can finally get back to getting shulker shells. I think right now I have, yeah, like a little bit over 9 stacks out of a little bit over 12. So we still have like 3 more stacks to go, but we're pretty close to being done. Honestly, I don't know how long I was actually looting end cities for, but this is what we ended up with. So now we actually need to convert all of these shulker shells into shulker boxes. And I also need a place to actually store all the shulker boxes. I think I'm just going to make some chests to store all the shulker boxes. I don't really know how many I'll need. I'll just make that many. Well, actually, honestly, I could just make the use of this extra storage. I think I'm just going to do that, actually. So I just realized I actually do need a bunch of chests to actually make all these shulker boxes. I think I just said actually like 3 times in a sentence. Okay, this will be interesting crafting all these because I'm not gonna have enough space at all. I'm just gonna put all this stuff in here so I actually have enough room. Okay, I think this method will work. So we're gonna make 32 chests. There we go. Okay, so that is the 389 that we needed, plus the 113 we already had, equals 522 shulker boxes. So now that the storage situation is out of the way, we can focus on actually getting all the stuff for this. The gunpowder shouldn't really be that much work because I already have a really fast mob farm, but the problem is the collection system for this thing kind of sucks because it's literally just a bunch of hoppers going into a single dropper, and the reason that's a problem is because this thing generates so much resources that this thing can't keep up, and eventually all these hoppers fill up and all their drops just sit here because these hoppers are completely full. So I'm gonna get rid of this thing and design a way better collection system. So I came up with a design, and I'm using a mod called Lightmatica to actually display the schematic. So like none of these blocks are actually here, it's just telling me where to place them. So I'm gonna build this thing and then explain what it does. There we go, the schematic is fully built. So what this thing does is it takes all the mob drops, and there's a sorter down here for only gunpowder. So if the item is gunpowder, then it goes down there, and if it's not gunpowder, it goes into this dropper, which goes into this lava. Once the gunpowder gets sorted, it ends up in these hoppers, and there's 4 identical things that look like this, and these are shulker box loaders. So there's going to be a shulker box right here, and once this shulker box fills up completely with gunpowder, this piston will push it out, and then it will get collected into this thing, and then all of the shulker boxes will get stored in these chests right here. So actually, I haven't tried this yet. I think if I push this, they'll start filling with gunpowder. Okay, so the gunpowder is going in all these shulker boxes, and in theory, I should just be able to AFK at this thing until all of these shulker boxes fill up with gunpowder. But before I do that, I actually did make some tweaks to the design in the creative testing world I was using. So you'll notice that like some mobs can get trapped on this dirt up here and just sit there, and that's not good because they fill up the mob cap, which means less mobs can spawn in the farm itself. It's not really that big of a deal, but it also is kind of annoying just having mobs up there. So I'm gonna replace all this dirt with magma blocks and hopefully not die in the process, because a creeper could fall on me and kill me. Another thing that could go wrong is if I let this water flow down there, it's probably gonna break the bamboo. Water breaks bamboo, right? Probably. Okay. Luckily he blew up in the water, so it didn't destroy anything, but that was a jump scare. Okay, there we go. And in case it wasn't obvious, this is just so if mobs fall in here, they'll eventually burn to death and they won't just stand there. Anyway, now that that's done, we can actually AFK at this thing. Like I said, I genuinely have no clue how long this is going to take for all of these shulker boxes to fill up with gunpowder, but I guess we'll find out. So right now, the Minecraft day is 3,886. So yeah, let the AFKing begin. Okay, so it's been about 7 real-life full days of AFKing, and all the shulker boxes are full, but there is a couple problems. Also, I did forget to mention, it is now Minecraft day 4,388. So in each of these things, it looks like all of the shulker boxes are filled up, but I added up all of these shulker boxes in all of these chests, and it only added up to 276. And if you remember before, we put 290 in there. So 14 of them just disappeared. I don't really know where they went. I put this dirt here to like make sure that they wouldn't fly out the side, but I guess that didn't really work. I'm not really sure what happened to that. Also, all of the bamboo down here is just gone, and there's just like little like stubs. I think maybe like lightning struck it and then it burned or something. That's like my only guess. I don't really know. And like there's also just like big patches where there's just no bamboo anymore. If you don't know why there's so much bamboo on this island, I basically just decided one day that I was going to fill this entire island, every single block on it, with a piece of bamboo, and that was the case before this video, but I guess I'm gonna have to do a lot of replanting. That issue doesn't really matter. The main issue is that we don't have enough gunpowder, so I need to get 14 more shulker boxes so we can actually get all the gunpowder we need. I think before we do that though, I do want to move all those shulker boxes into here and probably recount them just to make sure I'm not missing something. Okay, so we have 5 double chests of gunpowder shulker boxes plus 6 more. Each of these is 9 by 6, which is 54 shulker boxes, times 5 double chests is 270, plus 6 is 276. I did also calculate and make sure that I actually put the right amount in there, because all the ones that we have left, which are these ones and then the ones in these barrels over here, add up to 232, which is exactly how many we need to store all the sand. I was gonna get more, but I can probably get away with just like using 14 from this, because I don't know, I'll make it work. I did also forget to mention that I converted all of these spawning spaces in my farm to have trapdoors so that it only spawns creepers and I guess spiders too. So after another day or so of AFKing, we finally have all the shulker boxes we need. I actually did lose another one to that stupid machine. I don't know what's wrong with it. So technically I ended up using 15 shulker boxes, but the point is we have all of the gunpowder that we need. So I'm gonna go get 15 more shulker boxes, and then we can start getting all the sand that we'll need for this project. I got a little more than I needed just because I wanted to finish clearing out this end city, but now we can go back home. So there's a few different ways that we could get all the sand for this. The first option is a sand duper. Sand dupers have always kind of been in a gray area for me, whether they're considered cheating or not, but I tend to lean more on the side that they are a little bit cheaty. So I'm not going to do that. The next option is to use shovels to mine all the sand. This is how much sand we need. Look at that. There's no way I'm shoveling all of that, especially since I'm not using mending anymore. Another option I actually literally just thought of effective is to use torches to get all of this, because obviously if you place a torch under sand, then it destroys all the sand above it. But again, I don't really think that's going to be the best method to get all of this sand. So the method that I'm using is TNT. That might sound kind of counterintuitive considering that we're literally getting the sand to make TNT, but with one TNT blast, you can get like a stack and a half or more of sand. So I made a very rough calculation that to mine all of this sand, we're going to need about 74 stacks of TNT. So I'm hoping that as I'm mining the sand, I can just make TNT as I run out, and hopefully it'll work out fine. So before we start preparing for getting all this sand, I do want to mention a couple things. First of all, I realized that I never put the silence armor trim on my helmet, so I did that. And I also had to replace my boots, so I made sure to put the armor trim on that too. Yeah, I did have to retire my old boots. Again, with the names, I don't even know. I also built a froglight farm, so I replaced all of the glowstone that was in here with froglights, which I think looks a lot better. And the reason I built a froglight farm is so I could put froglights in this room over here. This isn't for like a video or anything, I just wanted to build an art gallery, and the froglights went in here. Do you guys even care about this? I don't even know. The froglights went in here and also right here. Anyway, obviously we're gonna need some TNT to start mining the sand. And one thing I realized after I got all of this gunpowder in here is that I actually already had like 28 shulker boxes of it in here. But that's actually good news because that means I won't have to collect more to make all of the TNT to mine all the sand. I don't know if I have any existing sand. I really hope I do. I have a little bit. That should be enough to get a little bit of a start. I guess I'll just do that. Okay, that's all this TNT we can make. So I'm just gonna bring that, I guess, and then I'll bring all of these to make more TNT. I'm gonna need a bunch of chests to actually store all of this stuff. Oh, I am gonna also need to bring all the shulker boxes for all the sand to be stored. Okay, that should be plenty of chests, I think. You can tell I'm not very sure about any of this, to be honest. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna need a lot of flint, which I think is over here. Obviously, so I can make all the flint and steel. So I do have a desert planned that I'm gonna mine all of this sand in. Do I have the coordinates in here? I hope so. Desert, here we go. There we go. Okay, and yeah, you can see I've already actually mined a bunch of sand here. I don't really know where I should set up like my base area. I guess I'll just do it right here. So I'm just gonna place all of these. I don't think I'm gonna use all of them. Okay. So this is where I'm going to put all the gunpowder, and then all of these will store the shulker boxes for all the sand that I'm going to collect. Okay, a lot of nether trips later, and here we go. We have all the shulker boxes in here. So, I don't really have a plan. I mean, besides just do this. Well, actually, I think putting it in the ground is the best option. I don't know, that looks like a pretty good size hole here, because I think if I put it 2 blocks into the sand, it kind of gets a little bit too much sandstone and it's kind of wasted. Yeah, like it kind of goes a layer into the sandstone. Just with those 2 pieces of TNT, we already have that much sand. So yeah, I'm gonna do this for however long it takes to get all that, and yeah, that's the plan. So after about 3.5 minutes since I started recording here, we have already 28 stacks of sand. So honestly, I'm pretty sure this is actually faster than using a sand duper. Okay, so the landscape might look a little bit different than last time, but we got all the sand actually. So we got 4 double chests plus this much of sand. I've collected 476,000 sand total, which is kind of insane. And yeah, this is what the desert looks like now. It even goes a little bit over there, and pretty much all this is completely gone. Anyway, I streamed most of this process. It took about 12 hours total combined over like 4 days. But anyway, we have all the gunpowder and all the sand. So I'm gonna take all of these back to my base and we can start crafting the TNT. Okay, so I got all the sand shulker boxes moved back to the storage room. So finally, after all this work, we can actually craft all of our TNT. So 290 shulker boxes of gunpowder and 232 of sand gets you 57 shulker boxes plus this much of TNT. I did have to make like 5 extra to get the number to exactly 100,000, but it was pretty close. So now that we have all this TNT, we can actually find a spot to go place it all before we blow it up. Obviously not anywhere near my base. I did have an area in mind, maybe like over here, because it's pretty far away from everything I've built over there. Actually, I think like in between these two mountains is probably a good spot. It looks pretty flat and I don't really care about any of this stuff over here. And I think it would look pretty awesome if there was a massive crater right here in between these two mountains. So all the TNT will be placed in this cube. Okay, we got all the TNT over here. So now I have the fun task of placing 100,000 TNT by hand. Okay. Here we go. There we go. That is what happens when you blow up 100,000 TNT in survival Minecraft. It took about 168 hours to get all the gunpowder for this, about 12 to mine all the sand, about 3 to craft all the TNT, and about 4.5 to place it all. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it this far in, you probably liked it, so maybe consider subscribing. I basically never ask that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.